Okay, so Mr. Now I am able to see you. So can you please tell me about yourself first?
Uh, yes, I mean, I did my BA citing for 2006, where in my final year project it was a Java project based on the backend Oracle. And in my MS program, it was in software engineering in 2014, where I took third position in the Android discipline and in other also the subject. So in 2007, I started the career as a junior position in the classical ASP, and then I went for the. It was my first job in a software house, and then I used parallelly the PHP, and also I was used to teach the courses in my first job. So then after I went for the software houses and for the government projects, and I also had the experience for the abroad, like I worked for the Kexi company. It was based on the Chicago, and one another company was in Izanga, it based on the Mexico. And also I had a teaching experience in a university. It was a government undergraduate level of the courses, more than 2 years. So in fourth experience, if I should add the, I made the ACO courses. Uh, they are available freely on the Udemy and YouTube as well. So it was my experience like that.
Okay, so how many years your total experience is actually?
Uh, it will be approximately 12 years.
Okay, so have you worked in Laravel
Yes, I
and
work.
coordinator? Which
Yes.
version of Laravel you worked most?
Laravel, I worked on 6, 7, now it's 9, or 8 in the 9. So I worked on these versions.
Okay, so what about your front end experience?
Most of the time I work as a full stack as well. So client server technology like HTML, DHTML, and the React, Vue. I have worked on these technology as well. So, but my core is the backend.
Okay, okay, so you are first time in Dubai, right?
Yes, first time.
Where are you in Dubai?
I'm in a Dera area.
Okay, okay, so Akram, let's start for your technical interview.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so I would first go for front end because we need full stack developer and he should know the front end as well. So talking about HTML, so can you please tell me what is the difference between div and span?
Spain and Dev, we add most of the time the text in both, but the Dev is extendable. We can extend what amount of data we can add in it. Spain is sometime used for the labeling and such type of things.
Okay, so what are selectors in CSS?
Selectors, like we use the classes, like we can have the ID based selector, we can have the class based selector. So
Just these two selectors?
no, there are different. We can use either database, and we can there are depend on the, we use the attribute, or we use the one tag. So it depends on the requirement. We can use that.
What is universal selector? And I want you to get its content using jQuery, but that div doesn't have any class name or any ID. It's just a div, okay? I want you to get the content of that particular div using jQuery. How you would do that?
So if we don't have a class and attributes, then we can a tag name. It's the same as a class. We use the
Okay,
class.
you use the tag name, but that div is at the end of the HTML. How you will get that? Only tag. There are other divs as well. If you use that tag name, then it will what div it will call. I am asking you to call the content of the last div, but there are other divs as well.
Yeah, there are many attributes here in a jQuery or in a CSS. These are same time things. We can have the last element. We can have the first node. So these are it's depend on our requirement, but we can get each element with the div based or ID based. Or so in your question, if I say last element is a div based, we can call it also.
Okay, so what if there is another div, and in that div, okay, I want you to get its content. Then
We use like we call one main div and greater than like this div, so or less than this. So we use like in your specific requirement, we greater than like this div, so we can get content update. Does that make sense?
okay, tell me one thing in JS or jQuery. How would you get the screen orientation? For instance, there is a web page which is being opened on the laptop or computer, and it can also be opened on tablets and mobile phones. So, how you will know that using jQuery or JS that what is the screen orientation is landscape or portrait? How you will know that?
Like mobile or the tablet, and it's depend on the we consider the layout, but most of the time we use now the bootstrap, so that problem is resolved by the bootstrap as well.
There is no bootstrap, and
Yes,
I don't want you to get the width and height of the screen. It can be different. Maybe there is some other device which you don't know, and in the world some user is using that, and you don't know the screen resolution. So how you will detect that this is landscape mode and this is portrait?
yes, we can have in other solution if we are not going through the uh, pixel base and right and left, but we can also we can get the names of the device like desktop or the it's a mobile, or we can get that also.
Let's move towards PHP. So do you know what is the difference between break and continue statements in PHP?
Yes, break for we halt the statement in switch are where we are far where we can use, and continue we skip the date point. So if I consider an example 1 2 3 4, and if I add the continue on the 2, it will skip 1 2 and 3. I skip the 2 1 3 4 like this.
And where we use it, continuous and break in
We
PHP.
most of the time we use that in the switch statement. It's the but we can use in for loops. It depends on our logic and our requirement.
How do you open a text file in PHP and read it?
It's a simple function. If open, we can open through that function, and we plus R we can use WR we can read and write. So this is a F open function.
And how do you write in the file? If I want you to write something in that file.
It will be plus WR is the one keyword for that.
Okay. So in OOP, what does mean by abstract class?
Abstract class.
Yeah.
Abstract we mostly use for the if we We are not going with the country classes. So we make one template for the journal from methods. We use it for the as a strict it.
Do you know about the singleton design patterns?
Yes. uh,
What is that?
Singleton is a design pattern we use most of the time, like we the uh, our databases connections we use most of them for that, but it's a simple is a we use one instance for every call. So mostly in a databases, here the side there was a problem in connection whenever person was coming on that side. So every time the system was opening new connection, so we had the like MySQL has the 100 limited or more than that. So site was hanging every time, so we used that pattern in that, and it was done very good and working successfully. So singleton we used it. I also use in many frameworks as well.
Okay. Uh, in AJAX, what are the number of states and what are those?
Keyword
If you want to use a loader or spinner on click of a button, which is calling the AJAX function, then you will show the loader spinner, but you will hide it on response. But if you know the states, then you can use that spinner in those states.
states are events like on click on load. Are you
Okay.
asking states are events?
So I'm talking about states.
So I don't recall states. If these were the like you told the spinner and these type of things
How,
and
how do
depends on
you
event.
how do you convert the string into integer in JS or jQuery?
Simple. We use the variable as a string, and we add the any integer in it, and then when we call as an integer, we define parentheses as an integer is equal to that variable. We use the one string variable as an integer. Does that make sense?
Now,
Okay, so one a variable ia is equal in double quotation 41. It's the one string base. Okay, in the second variable
there
I.
is a string. Uh, uh, there is a string. Okay. For instance, there is a number. Okay, 10. That is in double quote in some variable of JavaScript. Okay, but that is if it is in double quote, it means it is a string. Okay.
Yes.
I want you to convert it to integer.
Yeah. So in the second b variable is I call is equal. Before that variable I will use in parentheses is the integer. So when I will call or
What
change
you
that
call
uh,
again?
before the when I is after the is equal in second variable I use as a type is integer in parentheses, and then that variable, and so it will
Okay. So talking about databases,
yes,
what is the difference between double and float data type?
double and
Float.
float and double we use for the like when we use the dot in integers in between integers we use the dot. It's a float type of the double type of the data.
Yes, but what is the difference between double and float?
In float is a simple. In double we use the size, or we can the length of the date attribute should be the vast one for the double.
Okay, what is indexing in MySQL database?
Indexing we do for the fast query retrievation, and index it sort each record. So therefore, for this assorted, we call in where or something. So it gives us a speed in database. Therefore, we use the indexing.
What are constraints in database?
Constraints, like we have the users and we make the constraints on these, like one should read, one should can just read and write. So these types of constraints we add in user base and databases.
No, what it will do?
Constraint, what we do, constraints are restriction on the every database or every table we use. These restriction, the mostly we call the constraint to them.
Yeah, but what restriction it will do
On user base,
on any table?
as I gave the example, like we are the one user, uh, we just gave him the rights for to just read the things. Okay, this is a constraint. We gave the one another user, that user can write and read everything and update. So and also delete, mean as the admin. So it has a rights for the these things. So we call the constraint like that.
What is the difference between delete and truncate?
In the delete, we both are for removing the records, but in truncate, it's when we insert the data, it's data come from 0, 1, 2, 3 as a record, and deleting is remove each and everything.
Delete is each and everything, and what is truncate? Can you please repeat?
Truncate is the same for the we remove that, but when we insert the data, it's like it's come data like a fresh table. It starts from the 1, 2, 3, and if we record deleted any record in the primary key, deleted record will start from the last where we had deleted the record.
Okay, so what are stored procedures in database?
Store procedure are like the same functions method we are using for the any selecting query type of the things. So these are the I should say the one word is the methods in database we use for the.
What is the advantage of it?
It gives us the fastly data, and so most of the time we use for that.
Okay, so for Laravel, so can you please tell me what is Composer actually?
Composer is a dependency manager. We most of the time we use for we have to get any packages, so we use the Composer.
In
Laravel,
Laravel only?
sorry.
In Laravel only?
No, no, we are every year we are using like, but Composer is a dependency manager in a general way.
Generally, in the means for C++ as well, for Python as well, for other languages as well.
No, it depends on like we have the libraries or not. So we can like we are using the Shopware is it is a backend in Symfony, and like in Laravel or code igniters, they depend on the what services they are providing. So Composer we are using, like if we have to install the Laravel as well as the whole, we use the Composer uh, simple command. So Composer Laravel is, and with the project it will come. So it's a journal we say is a dependency manager in simple way.
Okay, so what is facade in Laravel? What is it actually?
Actually, these are the same as the design patterns. So facade is the design pattern we use in Laravel as well. like as we will talk about MEC and we talked about the singleton affecting that, but these this type is the interface based facade.
Okay. So what is namespace?
Namespace. Uh,
Yeah.
Namespace general, when we initialize any project, we give it the namespace. So all the controller model view will come in one namespace. Namespace is a we just call it is a container of the each and everything.
What is active record concept in Laravel?
Actually, mostly what we use the card is like what data is coming in. Did we use that word as active record? So active record what we are watching right now in the file. It means we are selecting the things like data is a 5 rows, 6 rows. These are the active records.
What is middleware in Laravel?
Middleware we use like in we have the API based the things are we are controller call most of the time in the API based call. So we use the middleware for user restriction. When we assign the tokens or we use the uh, like user based email and user ID etc. So we use more on the roots based the middleware in the Laravel.
Now, what does it do actually? Why we use it?
Middleware is the like we talked about constraints, or we can restrict the things. So everyone cannot call if we have not given any authority to any other user. So
If I don't want to use middleware just for giving authority or anything, cannot I use middleware for anything else?
if we don't use the middleware, we can add the simple rules and we can use it. So it's not the big deal. But when we give some APIs or some rules to privileged users, so mostly we use the middleware for that restricted area. We in the rules we make in the groups and everything for the every module and microservices. Mostly we use the uh, middleware in it.
If you are using AJAX in Laravel, so you are going to hit controllers, some controller method. Okay. So how you will give response back? What you will use in controller method, which will tell AJAX that response is coming.
We in the controller we simple in the root, but we initially make the class and then at the rate is a method. Okay, so same ages call will come is like the other call, like it was in a controller and API based, so ages call will same. But in when it retrieve it's give back the data to that ages call, uh, and we retry it.
Now the method you will use to give back data to AJAX call, what will you write in your AJAX function?
Like we
Do you give
simple.
any route? Do you give any redirection method or anything else?
No, it's simple. If I go in the routing, we have a simple way to go is a asynchronous base. Like we give the class is a simple assign the simple method like index or some. It depends on our requirements. So we use is date and they it will provide the data back to the same call. And we can use the JSON in the retrieval also. It depends on our requirement.
Okay. So talking about coordinator, okay, how do you load some helper function in controller in coordinator?
Helper functions, I don't recall.
Okay, so what are helper functions in Laravel?
Okay, if I say the one word like the package, it will come. I have to resolve like uppercase problem. So this is the helper function. We can use that package for that resolving that problem.
So what if I want you to use PHP mailer function, okay, mailer library in Laravel in coordinator, for instance. So how you will use that in your coordinator? How will you load that in coordinator controller?
That is the same in coordinator Laravel after because of these are the same MVC base. So mailer function is a just class. We call the same class. Whatever our library or package we call, we initialize in the first row. We call it in like all packages we are using on the initial in, uh, our code. So we call that class, then we call that object in our controller.
I think this is enough for now, technical interview. So I would ask you some HR questions. You told me last time that your visa status is visit and you can join immediately, right? If you are
Yes,
get hired.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you came in Dubai for the first time, and what is your expected salary?
Would I know that what is the package range for that specific post?
No, you can ask anything because in Dubai, in UAE, when you come for the first time, then you are considered as fresh because whatever you've done in Pakistan or any other countries, they will not consider it. They will take it from the start here in UAE.
No,
Anywhere you go, they will like that.
one
But
person. Yes, yes. So
you can ask your expected, or you can tell anything, any number. I will note it for you. Look, I cannot tell you because I don't know the package company
so
is offering, but I am just taking it away because if somebody gets hired, he will be working in my team. I'm the team lead here. I just know the capability and expertise and nothing else. So
okay, so if I tell like 12, so I will add one another was a negotiable. Okay,
no,
so
I can tell you it is 12 is more for this post, but 12 is for some experienced person who is already working in UAE actually.
no, if,
But it can be, yeah.
so I don't
But it's up to
understand.
you. You can,
No, I don't understand that experience based on if I went for the Mexico base, is it was a
but you were
fixed
working
salary.
remotely. You were working remotely.
Remotely mean we deploying the same on repository, same they were like the Gora people were working on same project. I was working on same. So it
Okay,
was
but let me tell you, this post I can give you just this idea that this post is not more than 10.
more than 10.
Right, this post is more than 10. So now you can tell your expected salary, so I can note down and forward it.
Nine negotiable. It will be
So your expected salary is 9K and it is negotiable, right?
negotiable. Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay. So I have noted everything you told me, and if you are get shortlisted, then you will be called for the second interview. Okay, with the probably with the CTO, Chief Technical Officer. So in a week, if you get something, so it means you are shortlisted. Okay, so maybe in maximum 2 weeks, if you get some call for the second interview, and then understand that you are shortlisted. Okay,
Okay.
okay. So thank you so much for your time, and it was nice talking to you.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so
see
much.
you. Take care. Have a good day,
Have a good day. Thank you so
and wish
much.
you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.